outside of that first round, it was really just more Crawford. But how surprising was it for you to see you sitting here?
Oh, I'll be completely honest. I was shocked. I think a lot of people were shocked. Not everybody. There were people who said that it would be a decisive Crawford win, and they were right. So look, it was just a masterful performance. I mean, we all expected maybe a more competitive fight, but I don't think it was disappointing because you saw some great skill out of Crawford. You saw a lot of persistence and determination, a lot of fighting spirit out of Spence. But that was a once in a lifetime performance for Crawford. It was pure artistry.
What's the soonest we can expect that rematch if there is one?
It depends. I suppose late this year, it's possible. Maybe a little bit soon. When someone takes a tough fight like that, you want to make sure you're not rushing them back. So maybe early next year. But it's either late next year or early next year if it happens.
Spence, you've been looking for years now. So you would know him better than just about anybody. Not trying to take anything away from Crawford. When you was looking at him, did you kind of say to yourself, he doesn't really look like himself?
Look, I didn't see any hints during the week about it. I know there's some silly stuff online and people throwing around crazy opinions. Look, he's always been a sort of low-key, reserved guy. He's not real outwardly emotional. So it didn't look any strange to me all week. But yeah, not taking anything away from Crawford, it was an incredible performance. But at the same token, that it didn't look like the Errol that we've seen before. And whether it's weight, whether it's something else going on, who knows? Or maybe it's just he ran into a guy who on that particular night was operating at a different level. It's really hard to say, and you're not going to get it out of Spence or anybody on his team. He's not an excuse maker. He'd never take away from anyone else's performance. So if there was an issue, it's going to go to the grave with those guys because they would never put anything out publicly like that.
Steven, Terrence Crawford's been on a media run all week, and if Errol Spence rematch doesn't happen, maybe end of the year, three names that's been getting mentioned by the media: Gervonta Tank Davis, Jermell Charlo, and Jerron Ennis. Which one of those three fights are the most realistic?
Well, I don't see Tank moving up, to that weight class. So we would put that, probably at the bottom of the list and realistic. Look, I don't know where Crawford is in his career. Whether he wants one more fight, two more fights, three more fights. I think he's been pretty clear. It seems like the thing that excites him most is the possibility of maybe a Charlo fight down the line. If he's willing to wait to see what happens with Canelo and how that plays out. I love the Boots fight. I think it's the best fight that can be made in the welterweight division. Toss up. You put Thurman, Boots, and Crawford in the mix. Any two of those three guys is a top tier fight. But I would say there's probably, look, I haven't spoken to Crawford about it or his team, but look at what he's been saying publicly. It seems pretty clear. I would say that his preference probably is Charlo. And then, if that can't happen, then a big fight at 147.
Speaking of Tank, are we going to see him before the year out?
That's something that he definitely wants. Calvin was here, talked to Calvin. He's getting back into it. Like I said, it depends on, where he's at physically. Being out of the gym for a couple months, does take some adjustment. He's got to handle some business outside the ring. So, yeah, I think his goal is to get back as soon as he can. If we can fit him in before the end of the year, we'll do that. If not, it'll be early next year.
And is that rumor of Pitbull, is that starting to be something that might happen?
Look, it certainly, we haven't really talked about opponents yet. It's tough to talk about opponents when you don't have timing yet. But look, I've seen the same stuff you have, Colbert or Isaac Cruz or, the conversations really haven't started yet, because, we really got to figure out a date, you know, and who will be available on that date. So right now it's all speculation. There's certainly nothing done. There's not anything that's sort of even loosely in place yet.
What do you possibly do to get Kevin's girlfriend to fight LeBron? And granted, I know he's not scared of Jordan or anything like that, but LeBron's kind of in the tough spot where it's like he seems to be a great father. He hasn't really accomplished anything. Doesn't really bring a ton of legacy value to Kevin. So what do you kind of do? You kind of be like, all right, Kevin, here's a load of money, more than what you made for Spence. And so you can have it. If Boots wins, you got your next thing.
Yeah, I think, look, on some level, some of it is going to be dictated by the market, and, if Crawford thinks that it's a bigger pay-per-view fight with Charlo, then, probably go that way. It's sort of what, part of it is it's sort of his judgment of what will sell the most, in terms of pay-per-view, because that's really going to determine his payday. But at the same time, look, he is the undisputed champion. There are mandatories. The IBF does have, mandatory coming up. There are others that have mandatories coming up. The WBA, whether, Stanionis is in line, or the IBF, if Boots is in line. That's what those mandatories are there for, is to make sure that, guys like Boots get their shot. So look, I think, that's one tool I think Boots can look toward, in enforcing the mandatories, or not getting him a title shot against somebody else. We had a lot of discussions without, giving away too much. There were Morrell discussions. There were Munguia discussions. Munguia discussions didn't go very far. They were not interested in Benavidez at all. I think they're focusing on Berlanga for whatever it is. So, look, we've always said along the way, at 168, you can put any of these guys in, whether it's, Charlo once he gets to 168, or Benavidez, or Plant, or Andre. And so, look, it really comes down to what's the quickest and easiest and best fight to make immediately, and that looks like it's going to be Andre.
Should the winner be in line and face Canelo Alvarez?
I think so. Certainly that would be a signature win for anybody there. And I think whoever wins in a Benavidez-Andre fight has probably got the best case for the next Canelo opponent, 168.
Eddie Reynoso said that both Charlos are in line for the fight. Is that true?
Look, in the long run, I think so. Because look, Jamal was just a function of happenstance right now, and what is going on in his personal life. He's going to be back before too long. The timing didn't work out. He wouldn't have been at his best for this fight. So look, I fully expect Jamal to be back, and maybe he's the next fight.
Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you.